It is May 4th. Michael Vaughn with Lee Barker. Lee, when we last talked, we talked about VRB Energy. Today, it's the Gold Project. Now, you were drilling up in the, you called it the Oaks Project a couple of years ago. Summarize those results and tell me where it led you.
Well, Mike, we drilled around the old shaft that was supported when the 1930s people did the work with Mr. Oaks. And there's a mineralized area there with a large breccia body that's related to cyanide porphyry, which was one of Oaks's mantras for exploration. Right. And we found a very wide mineralized area that gave us some interesting anomalous results in silver, copper. We drilled about 800 meters in 6 holes. And we basically tried to reproduce the results from the old 1930s drilling with a hole drilled in the same place and one underneath it.
But what you learned then persuaded you to take this to another step.
Well, what we learned was the mineralization has a lot of disseminated pyrite, other kinds of sulfides, chalcopyrite, some zinc, etc., around the breccia body material, and that this would respond to what we call induced polarization surveying.
Okay, now that's when you drive an electrical charge into the ground.
That's correct. You actually put a current in the ground, and these little metallic particles are charged up like little tiny batteries. And when you turn the current off, they discharge, and you get a response called a chargeability effect.
And that's a big 3D picture of a huge area.
Well, the area that we did was about 1/3 of the claims that we actually have up there. Yeah. And we did the method we used was a 3D IP system using a wireless equipment. We did that to save on having to do line cutting in the bush, less work on the impact on the environment. And the 3D system allowed us to go underneath the lake, which of course is adjacent to the material that we found at Oaks, and gave us a very, very interesting series of responses for the area that was covered.
Okay, you want targets. What are they?
Well, we found 5 basically very well-defined, distinct IP anomalies from this work. One of them, of course, was the area around the old area we drilled on the Oaks leases. The other 4 are new. We had no knowledge of them being there before. They're quite strong. They're well defined and
strong enough to deserve drilling.
Well, they're certainly strong enough initially to deserve trenching, so we can try and expose them, and definitely after that drilling if we see anything of interest in the trenches.
Now this land is almost next door to the Alamos, the young Davidson mine up there, which does $500 million worth of gold a year. Have they taken any interest in what you've got?
Well, they actually have, Mike. We have all our drill core stored at their site. We're in the process of arranging a meeting so they can see it, because none of their senior people have actually looked at it to see what we found there. And I think they'll be very interested in the results of the IP survey, because in fact 2 of the IP anomalies, the new ones, are on the west side of the lake, and they're related to these cyanide porphyry bodies that actually host the young Davidson mine.
Well, when you did this in Quebec, El Dorado was on you almost at once.
Well, El Dorado were on us right after we showed them the drill core and what we'd found in the drill core. And because the senior Alamos people have not yet seen the drill core, I believe that if they see it, they're going to have a lot more interest.
Well, if they don't see it, you're almost at Kirkland Lake. Why don't you go see Kirkland Lake Gold or something?
Well, we could do that, but you know, at this time I think it's better to deal with the neighbor that's right beside you than going off in the hinterlands further away. And I think they should be interested when they see what we've got.
Well, we'll find out soon enough. Lee, thanks for your time today. See you soon.
You're very welcome, Mike.